I've been using the version 2 of the Frag FX for the past couple of weeks now, and I wanted to do a quick video review of what I thought of the device. I've never really been a fan of console first-person shooter games, but when I saw this device, I thought I'd try it and see how that would change. I'm definitely a keyboard and mouse kind of guy, except I hate the keyboard because you have no analog control over your character. So I thought from looking at the description of this that this would be the perfect device. So here's my experience with it. I've played numerous first-person shooters and even Uncharted with this controller, and it's definitely one of the best third-party controllers that I've used. Now, it's not perfect. Now, that's not the fault of this device at all. Fault of the PS3 or most of the consoles for not supporting keyboard and mouse in the games. But what this does do is it emulates the right analog stick, and it does a really good job of that, much better than I thought. You know, if you read a lot of reviews on the internet, they'll give you, there's a lot of horrible opinions, there's great opinions and horrible opinions. I think some of those are other companies trying to sell other products. I got this on Black Friday, a great deal, a great sale on this for $29. For that price, it's definitely worth it. For its standard price of, I think it's $59, it's definitely worth it as well. I mean, I would not, at this point, play another first-person shooter without this controller. It's not without its faults, though. And some of those I understand, some of those could be fixed. The mouse buttons are pressure sensitive, which you have to have because the triggers on the PS3 controller are pressure sensitive. So I understand that. You do get used to it, but it can be a little tacky or sticky when you're getting used to it. The only problem that I've had with the controller is that sometimes one of the shoulder buttons takes on an additional function that it takes on, like right to, and I have to reset the controller and plug it back in. It's only happened twice, I would say, out of probably 40 or 50 hours of use, which it could be a fault of the device. I wouldn't call it a deal breaker. It's annoying. It's definitely not something that I would say is a huge negative against it if it happens to you. The use of the frag button for controlling sensitivity when you're going for a headshot, or the dial on the side that lets you control your sensitivity, is a huge benefit. There's some games that work better. I mean, Killzone 2 with this setup isn't the greatest. It works good, but a game like the F.e.a.r series, those work excellent, or Call of Duty, those work excellent. Uncharted was actually helped to make it a bit less annoying, you know, since there's all that shooting and it's not the greatest perspective, and you don't have a real crosshair or a first-person view to go in for shooting. So I definitely enjoyed it for all those games. I've read other things where people complain about comfort, and I've had I think it's really comfortable. In fact, for me, this is more comfortable than the original PlayStation controller. The thumbstick is great. It feels just like in the DualShock 3. The rest of the buttons work fairly well. The D-pad isn't as nice as the one on the DualShock, but you hardly ever use that anymore except for selecting weapons. It's not like you're going to use this in a fighting game. The build quality isn't quite as good as Logitech, but it is better than most other third-party manufacturers. It's definitely something I think that will last probably a few years, and even if it didn't, I'd replace it, because now after using it, I wouldn't use anything else. So my conclusion is this is definitely a must-have if you want to play first-person shooters, or even some third-person shooters or online third-person shooters. I don't think it gives an unfair advantage because it's still really difficult. It's not really a mouse. It's still an analog nub it's basically an analog nub that has stopping points. So it's not any more precise. It is easier to use, but someone who's really good at using a right analog stick could be just as fast as using this. This is mainly for someone who is used to playing first-person shooters on the PC, or has played first-person shooters on the PC forever, and just really can't get accustomed to using two analog sticks and doesn't find that comfortable.